people want to go. Yes. Because I cannot imagine that in 2025, under a democratic government, I will be tear gas for participating in peaceful protests.
How does this make you feel? You have been on the street for these police officers.
Yes.
Who have been complaining.
No, I don't fight so that people will appreciate me. I fight because my conscience tells me I'm doing what is right. You understand? Okay. Even as I'm speaking with you, the lawyer to Nnamdi Kanu is being pushed into the cell. His younger brother is being pushed to the cell. And we are warning the new commissioner of police, because I heard he was brought purposely to come and do this, that he will be disgraced like those who came before him in this application. He must release Nnamdi Kanu's lawyer, Aloy Ejimako, and his brother, fine boy Kanu, immediately. Otherwise, we will mobilize everybody down to that FCT. And it will be very, very unfortunate if he doesn't do that. We are going to announce a new date again. And that one will be, they have seen now that we can shut down this Abuja. And you know Abuja, not even the Federal High Court, where we're supposed to go and defend our case today, sat. Because everywhere was shut down. And we are happy that Uma here shut down. Massive protests everywhere. So Tinubu better understand now that we are not joking. We are not playing.
Mr. Sowore, I mean, it's been a rat race, if we call it that, since morning up on the police. We said that the police and the security agencies were particularly looking for not just you or other organizers of the protest. It am I reading that you're standing right now, right here in front of the force of that yet nobody...
Each time I get arrested, I volunteer myself. There's never a time the police wanted me that I did not show myself, make myself available. They are not looking for protesters or organizers. They are trying to crack down on organizers. And I know the reason. The new guy they just brought, they call him Mila Dantawaye, is trying to please Tinubu and the illegal IG here and Wiki. That's why he's doing this. But we have said this. We have seen worse policemen before. I see them, some of them in my university days. They are the same people we are fighting for who are retired now. No gratuity, no pension. So they'll be doing bad things to your people. One day you will face the consequences. Yeah.
What assurance for the safety? You said they are going to announce a new date for another protest. What assurance of the safety of those that will come out to the protest? See what happens.
We will discuss that when we get there.
Innocent Nigerians that we are all in their peaceful protest.
IG to release all
they said that they have court order that we should not be in the central area. We left central area, we went to Otako side. They used tear gas and rubber bullets to attack innocent Nigerians. Those of them in Apo who are protesting, they have arrested all of them, including Nnamdi and the Carlos Lego team. They have been arrested. We went to FCT Police Command. They said no, that is a national issue. In fact, the PRO there was very rude. I must say it. He was very, very rude. He was insulting me. I know that girl is not qualified to be a house help. So after the insult, he said that I should come here. He contacted the first PRO, CSP Benjamin. I've been calling him. The CSP Benjamin said that we should come. I've been here now calling him. I will ask them at the gate. They said that we should call him. I don't know whether he doesn't pick the call. He's not saving his phone. I've sent him a text. We are here now. You cannot. Those people cannot sleep in any cell in Nigeria. Never. This is not Banana Republic, for goodness sake. You can't say because you have few years to be here and you are acting as if we are in Banana Republic. People who have seen police officers. Where is that presumed innocent? Not even Idris, the one whose eyeglass is bigger than his achievement. The other one, Idris, Haruna, name them, Suleiman Abba. They have all gone.
Do you think that the point has been, that the message has been?
We continue to deliver the message because Mr. President is a product of protest. I participated in a protest with him there in Ojota. He's a product of protest, for goodness sake. Had it been that Jonathan refused to hand over, heaven will not fall. Heaven will not fall. If Jonathan said I'm not handing over, not heaven will not fall, but he handed over for peace to reign. Had it been that Buhari did not come and hand over, will you be a president? Why do you want to destroy the system because you're the president? A Democrat like you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I'm highly disappointed. As a student, I participated in several protests with you. Why should you want to kill people because they are protesting? Peaceful protests. Look at police officers. I want all the people protesting for police officers, their welfare. And I'm highly supported to police officers. Go and ask those that intimidated people. Look at how their life is. They give you bullets. Can't you use your brain? You are targeting people.
Shooting like
Must you shoot? Can't you do eye service?
For your salary.
They will use you and they retire.
For your salaries to be increased. You are targeting us.
And Nigerians every day are subjected to a whole lot of miseries, hardship, and sufferings. Whenever you're going out to do anything on behalf of Nigerians, you have to take yourself as an ordinary Nigerian. And you have to subject yourself to the risk that every other person is taking. Nothing is going to stop me from doing what I've made up my mind to do.
Well, I'm glad that you're here.
It is the grace of God.
What do you
and the
make?
determination to keep moving no matter the circumstance.
What do you make of this protest, though? The Free Nnamdi Kanu protest. There are those who are saying, look, it is legitimate. They're well within their rights to protest. It is enshrined in the Constitution. And there are those who are saying this protest is premature. The matter is still in court. There's progress being made on the matter in court. It seemed at some point that, yes, there was a lull, especially after he was brought back from Kenya. But then there are those who are saying it seems that new vigor has been given the case. Just last week, we heard from the Nigerian Medical Association that he is fit to stand trial. And it does appear that the justice system is now determined to take its course. What are your thoughts on the protests which seem to want to ground the Federal Capital Territory today?
Well, first and foremost, the Constitution is very clear. Section 36, subsection 5, that every Nigerian citizen is deemed to be innocent until proved guilty. A nation that detains a human being more than 7 years, and you have him in your custody, and yet he couldn't even reach a judgment as to the culpability of his crime, is a nation that is failing in the dispensation of justice. Justice delayed is justice denied. When it comes to the issue of crime, the Constitution is very clear that the accused or defendant should be judged within a reasonable time. It is very unreasonable to keep a man in detention for almost 7 years. What are you judging? This is telling on the judicial process of Nigeria. I tell you again, in the Constitution, they say the Attorney General, while making any decision as to charging anybody, discontinuing or taking over any criminal charge, should have regard for public interest, the interest of justice, and the need not to abuse the legal process. For me, in the case of Nnamdi Kanu, the legal processes have been abused. Nobody will remain sane to be in jail for more than 7 years that a case is being tried. People are frustrated. People believe that if you do not find anything against this man, release him or reach a political solution. That is what is bringing all these things. It's a result of frustration that there is no interest of justice served in this. So diligent prosecution is one of the pillars of justice in a criminal offense. I do not see that diligence. And the federal government is failing on all fronts. Remember, we have pleaded that this should be treated as a political issue and settled out politically so that every party will go home in peace. And then you are the one who arrested him. You are the one who put him on trial. You are the one who is delaying for up to 7 years without giving clear justice. So the federal government is failing on all rounds. And as they keep failing, they are making their matters worse.
So do you think that this is really, you've said this is a political issue.
It should be a political issue.
It should be.
Yes.
But is it?
That's what I'm saying. The government should treat it as a political issue. Remember, during the colonial masters, where people were fighting for our independence, the colonial masters saw them also as adversaries. But they were genuine fighters of freedom. So in this world, there will always be two aspects of an issue. You know, the kind of cost-benefit issue, if it is in business. What is a cost to somebody is a benefit to another. That is how you treat political issues. To some people, he's fighting and agitating for their rights and freedom. You should also take that into consideration. To you, you may say he may have infringed on some laws. Why doing that? You should take that into consideration. And if you're a wise government, you will come to a negotiation table and let each side make a shift and come to a compromise and settle this issue politically.
The issue which he agitates for, which IPOB has agitated for years, is something that countries generally find very difficult to deal with, which is the issue of self-determination. How do you think that that can be resolved, given the fact that even if the federal government were to say, look, politically, we release him today, that certainly will not stop the agitations for people who believe that he should be given a separate country of their own?
Very good. And that is why you should not attribute it to him, that he is the originator and the perpetrator of this. I think it predates him and might even outlive him. So it is about the government learning how to treat agitators and how to dialogue with them. Because as you have aptly stated it, it didn't start with him. We've had MASOP, we've had other organizations. It may certainly not end with him. So it's about people expressing in their different ways their manners of frustration with the system. When things were so good in Nigeria, I wasn't hearing all these agitations. But whatever name you call them, it is frustration to the suffering, to the hunger and hardship in the country. That is the truth.
I was going to ask you though, what side are you on? Are you on the side of the protesters? Do you support their cause, or do you think that since this matter is already in court, pressure should be applied to the federal government to let this matter run as quickly as possible?
Very good. I am on the side of rule of law. I just told you that Nigerians have the right to protest. Section 40. And you can't take it away from them. It's their natural right, innate in them. And the Supreme Court has said, beyond exercising these rights, no human being can live a civilized life. So it is their innate natural right to protest. And it should be encouraged in a democracy. Because when you bottle up all these things, then there will be an implosion and explosion. But when people are allowed to express themselves, according to Section 39, they will ease off their anger. They will feel they've been heard. And then the government will also use it to understand the feeling of the people and know the solutions they are from and they are at. So the issue is that it is a support to rule of law. What does rule of law say? Somebody is innocent until you prove him guilty. And you must prove him guilty within a reasonable time. When it's unreasonable, it's no longer rule of law. And for me, keeping somebody for 7 years in the name of trial is unreasonable. So whatever it is, it should end now. Nnamdi Kanu should be released. Either the justice system moves at the speed it ought to move. In our laws, criminal trial ought to be held every day until judgment. That is what the law says. So I am on the side of law. I'm on the side of justice. Whether there's marginalization against the Southeast, that is given. So whether people will agitate, that is legal. Their method of agitation should also be legal. And if the government believes somebody has exceeded, then when you're applying the law, apply it legally, judiciously, and judicially. And in the case of Nnamdi Kanu, with respect, I can say they have not lived up to it.
Today is also the 5th anniversary of the NSAS protest. That was one protest that we saw a lot of young people come out to express their displeasure with the way the Nigeria police, or will I say an arm of the Nigeria police, had treated a number of young people over the years, indiscriminate detention. And after a while, the protest morphed into something else and morphed into a general protest of complaint against the state in general and the state of affairs. Sadly, that protest did not end well. I mean, in terms of the conflict that degenerated between federal government forces and the protesters. And that had implications for a lot of people, had implications for businesses. I mean, we saw what happened afterwards, the aftermath of the protest, where businesses were, destroyed and all of that. So on days like this, when, this sort of protests are declared, people usually are very cautious. Businesses are wary. How do we balance this need for protest, which is a legitimate right, and the fears? Because the protesters, yes, they're protesting a certain cause, and I'm sure a lot of people share their cause for justice, but they also fear that it might not end well. At the end of the day, it affects whatever little that they have been able to build within the system. On a sister program this morning, we saw, the complainants come to talk about how the government of the day has pulled down the little business that they have been able to build. That is a demolition, is something different. But when protests now generate to something that actually affects lives and livelihoods, how do we call that balance?
This is where the efficiency from the state comes into view. Abroad, it is the duty of the security agencies to maintain law and order. And that includes protecting the protesters and ensuring that they are doing their protest in accordance with the law. There's nothing wrong with the police guiding the protesters on the ways they should protest to make sure that it remains peaceful. If you recall, just like you have enunciated the issue of the NSAS, when it started, one of their demands was the welfare of the police. Telling you everybody in Nigeria is under torture. Telling you the nation and the government has failed everybody, including the security agencies. We have seen it. That's why I said most of what we're seeing in Nigeria is a manifestation of the suffering, of the hunger and hardship in the system, including that of the security agencies. When a man has not eaten from morning and is carrying a rifle, he is always triggered and can be irrational in his behavior against human beings. So the whole idea is that things are not working because the indices are not doing well. And the government is reading out statistics that is more tormenting. You know what George Sylvester said? He said, when a nation's growth is on paper, but its people sinks in hunger, he said, that's not progress. That is polished poverty, wearing a mask of statistics. So when people are suffering and the government of the day is using fake statistics to mask their suffering, it becomes more frustrating because they know there's no end in sight. Because when the government is making that mask, they're hiding under a mischief for the suffering to continue, not a sincere desire to bring about solutions. So Nigeria has become a theater where the government is not governing well and the people are not trusting the government. And that is what you're seeing in the protests. When the NSAS met with government, government agreed at the initial stage to answer all their demands. But you could still see that lack of trust. They will still go and sit down and say, until we see it implemented. Because to them, once we leave this arena, it will be forgotten. And in all honesty, what they said was right. ASU went into agreement with federal government since 2009. Immediately they leave the table, the government forgets it. Till today, 2009 agreement is still being brought to the fore, and strike is being called because of it. So government must live up to the true meaning of its name, protecting the security and welfare of the people, and ensuring under the concept of pacta sunt servanda that a party to an agreement must respect the terms of the agreement. If the government starts respecting the agreement it has with Nigerian people, starting from the social contract, this will build trust in the minds of the people, and continually that trust will build. And when the government makes a promise, the people will not sit down and say, you must fulfill it before we leave here. That is what is going on.
All right, I'm also known on this program. I know that my colleague Ayo certainly has questions for you. Ayo, over to you.
Well, thank you, Mark. I think quite significantly a number of things are being covered. But Mr. Okonkwo, and you've spoken to a few things, and I'd like you to, help us understand what are the missing links here. You've cited the ASU Federal Government 2009 agreement. You've also referenced the fact that the issues that's brought up the Free Nnamdi Kanu protest predated Nnamdi Kanu and may even outlive him. You're probably referring to the Civil War and the fact that, as you also said earlier, the Saudis, the kind of political sidelining, if I can use that term, of the Saudis is something you said, according to your precise word, is a given. And there are a number of other things. You talked about the NSAS, that the issues of NSAS were more about welfare of the police as opposed to, just agitation for agitation's sake. Between 2009 and 2025, a good number of people that were in government are no longer in government. Well, supposedly. Between the Civil War and now, so many waters have passed under the bridge. It begs the question of exactly how do we forestall these kinds of protests? If government is a continuum, where do we have the roadblocks that hinder the progress that should have taken us way beyond this place, such that we won't have the protests of issues that date back decades?
Very good. The simple answer to your question is Nigeria is under the siege of incompetent and corrupt leaders. Can you imagine in a nation if the money invested in our refineries had been used to repair our refineries and they are working and we are not importing and fuel is very cheap? In other words, you have reasonable energy cost. Can you imagine in a nation where our educational institution has continued its growth right from 1960 without this abuse on the lecturers and the students through meager salary and through not taking care of the environment of learning? Can you imagine if such an educational institution is empowered with the resources it needs? Can you imagine if our healthcare system is working as it's supposed to work? Can you imagine a nation that is blessed with oil and with solid minerals, if these minerals have been harnessed and there is fair distribution of wealth amongst everybody? Can you imagine such a nation? Do you think there will be agitations? People wouldn't even have the time. They would be busy working. They will be busy inventing. Can you imagine a nation if all the money pumped into electricity, they have utilized it to give us 24 hours electricity? Can you imagine who is going to go to protest? People are going to protest because they are idle. They are hungry. Things are hard. It is not because they want to go and risk their lives using their head to defend a bullet. Nigeria is a nation that is potentially great. And on the day we have free, fair, credible election that will help us to elect competent leaders who would have the people as their focus.
And that brings
in 20 years we'll become a superpower nation.
My apologies,
I have
Mr.
prayed,
Okonkwo.
and I believe that in my generation, I shall see this country metamorphose into that.
Now, so that raises a question. Just a second, sir.
Failure of leadership.
Just 1 second, Mr. Okonkwo. Perhaps that raises the question, when you talk about the fact that, elected officials and all, it raises the question of, when we talk about government, exactly who is government? Between 1966, 67, and now, we've had quite a number of governments. But there is always a continuum. That is what we expect is the case. Since 2009 and now, the maximum number of years an elected official has is 4 years, renewable every 4 years. Only for 2 terms for the executive, and I'm not sure what the term is for legislators. But we have civil servants that are always there, maximum 35 years or until they turn a particular age. So where is the but? Is the question that I'm asking. Do you think the civil service could have helped to bring to their attention the elected officials, that to the attention of the elected officials, as guys, these outstanding issues are there. Or do you think it is something that, every elected official just comes and just ends what was on ground before? I don't know if you understand the question I'm asking.
Yes. If I understood you very well, you're talking about the civil service, the elected people, who is to be blamed, or how would the solution come? The truth is that what we are suffering in Nigeria is systemic corruption. It is systemic because there is no deterrence. In a nation where corruption is not deterred, when you want to fight it, you are at a risk. The civil servants are now colluding with the politicians to extort Nigeria and to manipulate the process for their benefit. So the issue here is that you see how corruption is working on two legs. And even the ones that are charged, convicted down to Supreme Court, you will see politicians like Tinubu just did, pardoning some corrupt people that even the Supreme Court has declared corrupt and jailed.
Yeah, but
when you pardon such people,
let me just quickly
you're sending a message to people that there is no need. They are sticking out their neck against such people, because such people will come back to the system as elected, and they will begin to take their pound of flesh on the people that genuinely thought that they should be punished. So,
Mr. Okonkwo, just a moment though.
Yes.
I mean, because some people say where there is no sin, there is no need for pardon. I mean,
Yes.
where no crime has been committed and conviction secured, there will be no need for pardon. And so the people perhaps who need a pardon are those who have been convicted,
Yes.
Even by the Supreme Court. And in reaction to the uproar that, the public outcry, so to speak, we saw a message from the Attorney General's office saying that it's not the last word had not been heard on it, that there is a review still going on, because they have to now, take a second look at it and then give the list to the Controller General of Prisons or the Correction Service, and that is yet to take place. From your mind, or to your mind, what do you think? Or do you think that there is really a space? Because I've also heard lawyers say this is medicine after death. If the president has already given his pardon to these people and it's gone to the Council of State, there is nothing more that can be done. What are your thoughts, especially as a lawyer?
you see, this government keeps exposing its incompetence every day. Doesn't mean that they talk before they think. After announcing people, after going through the Council of State, you have come down to sit down to say you want to review the process. That is in itself incompetence, standing on two legs. But let me tell you the story of what one justice said. One brilliant justice from the Southwest. He said he was transferred to a city. And in that city, he was welcomed with newspaper review. People knocked down, killed on the road. Careless drivers. Accident. You know what he said? He said when he sat down, the first case they brought to him, he gave the person a very harsh sentence to jail. The person that killed somebody, a driver. He said he did it the second time, and he said it ceased. Why am I saying this? The whole idea of punishment is not in the desire of any country to inflict injuries on its citizens, but for deterrence. Nobody is rejoicing that some people are in jail or some people are facing execution. But how do you deter others from doing it? So what Tinubu is doing is encouraging people to do it. So nobody is saying that to be merciful is not good. No, but you have to matchmake what you are trying to be merciful at with the justice of the situation and the public interest. I told you this, section 174, subsection 3 of the Constitution. You have to check the public interest. Somebody murdered, a lady murdered the husband in cold blood, and you are telling me, oh, release her. You will see other people on the same matter murdering their husbands the next day. Everybody has one problem or the other. But when you remember what the consequences will be, then you will forbear. You will take a better option apart from shedding innocent blood. Do you know what it means theologically? And I talk as a theologian. It says the blood of the murderer that is needed to clean out the cry of the blood of the innocent against the land. That's there in the Bible. The blood cries against the land when you murder an innocent person. And if you are a leader and you go so ignorantly forgive such a person who murdered without a cause, you have become an accomplice spiritually to that blood that is crying against the land. We have to be very careful. You must exercise the privilege of pardon, or prerogative of mercy, having the interest of the public, having the interest of justice, and making sure you do not abuse the legal process.
So is it too late
To do what?
to review it?
You know, with this government, anything is possible. For me, I may not say it is too late. I'm saying it's not right for you to do something and then create an impression in the mind of somebody that you have forgiven, and then coming back to say, no, I have not forgiven again. It is simply distasteful, and for me, whether it is right or wrong, it's inelegant. And this government speaks volume. And the Attorney General of the Federation, I'm sorry, he has not impressed me on this, because he is the chairman of such committee that makes such recommendation. So what is he saying? Is he coming to tell us now that he didn't know what he was doing when he did that? Me, I believe they were wrong.
Nigeria Security Agency, Nigeria Law Enforcement Agency, those that are constantly being used as an attack dogs against innocent citizens of Nigeria whenever they tend to be on the street or whenever they are on the street to complain, to express their grievance and disagreement with governors. Whenever you are deployed to do a thing like this, always remember that the protester you've been asked to go and stop, to go and tear gas, to go and fire live ammunition are not only protesting for themselves, but you, the security agency inclusive. Are you being taken care of? The answer is no. How is your welfare during and after service? Very, very bad. Only your guys at the top, I mean within the uniform service, only your guys at the top who are already part of the politicians take home good pay while in office and after office. But those are never the people that are on the street stopping protesters. So you that is being used whenever you are being sent, in as much as I understand that you are meant to obey last command, but that does not forbid you from applying your Akanuche, your number 6, I mean your Iroro. It doesn't stop you. We all heard what recently happened in Madagascar. The people hit the street to express their grievance and displeasure over the misrule of the government. The army, the soldiers of Madagascar was sent to go after the protesters. But the soldiers went out there, having been part of the country, they knew exactly how terrible things were. They refused to obey the government. They dropped their arms, pick up flag, and join the protesters to call for a better Madagascar. Today they have it. Today they have it. Madagascar obviously is better or will be better off any moment from now because a new man is in charge. When I even listened to the man speak, I was like, wow, these are the kind of people we need in Africa countries. So if those soldiers has carried out the wish of the government to go after the protesters, in as much as I know that a determined protesters will still defy the odds against the soldiers. But they never did. What if they have succeeded in stopping those protesters? Madagascar will still be in the mess that it is till now. So liberation of a nation will require everybody to put their hand on deck. So if you are a soldier, if you are a policeman, if you are an Air Force, you are a DSS, I have no problem with you obeying orders. But apply your own sense. Your own future is also being fought for by these protesters. So why the tear gas? Is it not recently we saw Nigerian retired policemen also protesting for a poor retirement package? But when they were in office, they also were being used to stop protest for a better Nigeria. So you that is there now that is still on uniform, it's a matter of you retire today, you join those retired police officers tomorrow to start protesting against the bad governance that you are defending today. Think about this and always use your sense. Not every time the protester hit the street, you'll be sent to shoot tear gas. There are some overzealous ones I know that extraordinarily want to please their paymaster, their slave master. When they ask you to fire one tear gas, you go there and fire 10. You want to overdo. I know there are many like that. Why there are still few, I've seen some engaging the protester with a peaceful and well-mannered conversation. I've seen quite some. So not everybody on the feed try to stop the protest are bad. I mean, the law enforcement agency, but there are demons among them who, when even told not to fire, will go there and be firing. So please, this is a candid one to the uniform men. You are not exempted from the bad government of Nigeria. While you are in service, you are on the receiving end. When you leave service, you feel it hot. Is it the soldiers that is being sacrificed in the name of sending them to fight Boko Haram? The same Boko Haram that the government knows too well that they do not intend to defeat. They will just send our soldiers unarmed, sacrifice our brothers, our husbands, our uncles, our fathers for nothing. Then they send you after a protester that is protesting against an act like that, and you are out there firing. They do you. No, they do you.
Kanu, who has been in detention despite several court rulings ordering his release. According to Sowore, the planned protest is not just about Nnamdi Kanu alone, but a fight against oppression, selective justice, and the shrinking space for freedom of expression in Nigeria. He accused the government of using state institutions to silence dissenting voices while ignoring the real issues facing millions of Nigerians, including poverty, insecurity, and corruption. Greater than, we've seen enough of this dictatorship masquerading as democracy. The people have the right to assemble, to speak, and to demand justice. This struggle is not about tribe or religion, it's about truth and freedom. There's no going back, Sowore said boldly. His statement has already sparked mixed reactions across social media, with many Nigerians praising his courage and others expressing fear that the standoff between protesters and security agencies could lead to another round of violent clashes if not carefully managed. Meanwhile, sources within civil society movements confirm that despite police warnings, thousands of youths across major cities, including Abuja, Lagos, and Enugu, are mobilizing massively for the Monday protest. Some have vowed to defy any restrictions, describing it as a final stand for justice. As the clock ticks closer to October 20th, a date already symbolically tied to memories of the 2020 EndSARS protests, all eyes are now on the Nigerian government and security forces to see whether history will repeat itself or if dialogue will prevail. One thing, however, remains clear from Sowore's latest bombshell: the protesters are ready, determined, and unshaken.
This is a press conference called on the eve of Free Nnamdi Kanu protest slated for tomorrow at the Aso Rock Villa. We are here to let people know that this action is going on as planned across the world, as a matter of fact, but the center of gravity will be Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory, where Mr. Nnamdi Kanu is currently unlawfully and unjustly detained by the the State Security Services, known as DSS. The law is very clear. Mr. Nnamdi Kanu's detention is not just illegal, it's a national disgrace. The government is disobeying its own courts and mocking the Nigerian Constitution, the 1999 Constitution that they subscribe to. Here is the truth, and what they don't want you to know is that the Court of Appeal cleared Mr. Kanu in 2022 and discharged and acquitted him. That's the final. Yet the DSS, even upon this discharge and acquittal, never released him even for a second, in disobedience of the Court of Appeal position. It was pure contempt, and it has always been their tradition to defy the rule of law that they claim they subscribe to. The Supreme Court, of course, did take over the case erroneously. They overstepped. It is a twisted justice reversing a decision that has already been taken by a court of competent jurisdiction, like the Court of Appeal, on this particular matter. But even at that, the Supreme Court did say that Mr. Kanu never violated his bail condition. It was the Nigerian army that caused the confusion. And you know that double jeopardy is also a crime. Nobody under the law should be tried for an offense for which they've been discharged and acquitted. It's known as double jeopardy. I may not be a lawyer, but I know this well enough. So also, let us let you know that the law under which Mr. Kanu is being tried is known as the Terrorism Act of 2013, which is dead and buried. You cannot try anybody under a law that does not exist. So we want to let you know that this fight is bigger than one person. It's about every Nigerian right to justice, dignity, and freedom. And when the state tramples on one man's right, it endangers all of us. Our demand, therefore, is very clear. Obey the law, enforce the acquittal, release Mr. Nnamdi Kanu now. So tomorrow we will be out there, and we want to also clarify that there is no court order issued against the protests. Of course, the police, in their anxiety and desperation, went to Federal High Court judge on Friday and asked them to stop us from visiting certain areas. In fact, they initially wanted to ask the judge to stop, but the judge vehemently denied that he cannot ask the Nigerians not to protest, exercise their fundamental human rights. So they granted a limited order. And the judge, in his number 3 order, said they must serve the defendants. They must serve the defendants by Friday. We have not been served. I only got to hear about the order through another person, and the order has lapsed because, as an ex parte order, service is the only thing that can activate an ex parte order. That has not been served. So we are going ahead tomorrow, and we will march peacefully, powerfully, and legally on the streets of Abuja. And anywhere you might be, our own position is that this must be completely peaceful protest. And we hope that at the end of the protest, common sense will prevail and will bring Mr. Nnamdi Kanu home. Thank you very much for coming. If you have any questions, please ask so that we can continue with the journey of mobilization.
Okay, the first question is that you said this is going to be a peaceful movement.
Yes, it is. It has always been a peaceful movement. Nnamdi Kanu himself, in the beginning of this campaign, said he believes in non-violence.
Okay, in the light of the development that there was an ex parte order from the court, which you just pointed out that it has lapsed.
Yes.
Being that it's aimed at achieving a peaceful movement, have you been able to reach out to the police to say, okay, this is this?
Oh yeah, we went to the police on Friday. We visited, was it Thursday? We visited the Nigeria Police Force FCT Command because they sent a letter to, they called the lawyer who had written them a letter. I accompanied the lawyer there, Barrister Maxwell Opara, who is one of the lawyers to Nnamdi Kanu, who had written a letter to them. So when I arrived there, they said I was not invited. So they apologized to me, and but I was there on, I think it was on Thursday, right? I went to the police command, yes. The day the new police commissioner started work was that day we arrived there. So we also want to make it clear that we've heard that the police commissioner who is newly arrived was given a marching order to be high-handed tomorrow. We just want to warn him that he's a member of Nigerian police force and not a private mercenary force of any political party or politician or special interest, and that nothing must happen to any of the protesters tomorrow. The job of the police is to protect, and anything short of that to be an international crime.
Yeah, the course of action you are taking, one may ask, why are you taking this kind of action? Bearing in mind that the case is in court, why not wait for the court to see it through?
Well, I just read to you that the case had been completed in court as far back as 2022, when the Court of Appeal ruled that his extraordinary rendition and his trial was null and void, discharged and acquitted him. What we are having now is a rigmarole, is what is referred to as double jeopardy in law. It is a crime. So if there was a case, they would have been able to conclude it in 10 years, or when they renewed it in 2021. But the position of the law and the position of the court, which has not been vacated, is that it's discharged and acquitted.
How far do you intend to see this through, assuming it's not?
Until Nnamdi Kanu is free.
I want you to equally react to one doctor, a member of the NMA, that questioned the legality, the authenticity, and the right of the NMA to actually side with the government and then write a report in such a manner. What's your opinion on that?
The NMA in this case is a disgrace. These are organizations that are supposed to be fighting for the right of doctors. I think maybe all the doctors with common sense has left the country. So we are left with those who can't think for themselves. Otherwise, the NMA I used to know under Dr. Bekor and Sonkuti would never have sided with injustice.
Are you going to use the court to contest that position?
Absolutely. I'm not a lawyer. He has a very solid legal team. We are just providing a solid team, as citizens of conscience who are appalled by the continual trial and the violation of Mr. Nnamdi Kanu's rights and those of his organization. That's what we're here to do, because we are all one, all of us who are oppressed in this country.
Does this case, Nnamdi Kanu's case, does it equally now validate the fears in Nigerians that they have no hope in the judiciary?
Yes, I'm in a better position to tell you because I also get unjustly tried by the Nigerian state through our court system. Just 2 weeks ago, I was in 1 week tried to court for offenses that were not only nebulous, frivolous, but violated even my own personal dignity, and they were done by judges. So this is also a challenge to our judges and the Nigerian judiciary to go back to doing the work of what is just and legal.
Finally, what would you say to those who are nursing the fears that The court has made a decision, the police will go high, and then they shouldn't.
No, there's no decision, let's be very clear, there's no decision from the court not to protest. The only order that was given to the police, which we just saw today, said, don't go to Aso Rock and don't go to certain centers.
What are we asking? Nnamdi Kanu.